Hi everyone, welcome back to Ghost Light Stories. I recorded the following story with author Richard Crofton many weeks ago. However, I had audio file issues, equipment failures, and every other type of problem you could imagine trying to put this episode together. I don't believe in coincidences, and after you hear his story, you'll see what I mean. So without further ado, here is Richard Crofton, author of the Keepers of White book series, with a very strange, true story.
First of all, thanks for having me, Joy. And
My pleasure.
the next awesome. The next installment, which is going to be titled "The Paladins Message," should be out mid to late summer. It'll be available for pre-order for a couple months before it's actually before you can actually order it.
Very good. Listeners, I highly recommend this series. You will be hooked. It's very scary. Richard, earlier we were chatting and you were about a strange incident that occurred to you. Are you willing to share that with Ghost Light Stories this evening?
Absolutely. I kind of make a little reference to it at the beginning of my book. The mention of a tunnel at the very beginning, and it's actually based off of a personal experience. When I was a kid, and I have to say somewhere between the age of 10 and 12, it's all a little, my childhood's kind of all blended together.
Right.
I had three friends, and we used to hang out at this neighborhood park where they had a baseball field. And, we would go there, play ball in the summer when we didn't have school. And one particular day, one of us hit a ball a little too hard or a little too far foul. And we went to go retrieve our ball, and that's where we found this tunnel where a little bit of water was trickling out, and the tunnel actually led to a drainage system, not a sewage system, but it was a drainage system. And like most curious kids would do, we decided that we were going to go explore in this tunnel because it was large enough. It was a horizontal cylinder, but large enough that we could, if we just kind of hunched over, we can go walk through it. So we got a couple flashlights, and we just walked and followed this tunnel for quite a while until we came upon this another area where it was now vertically cylinder, and there were ledges along the walls that we could sit on, and we looked up and we saw the underside of a manhole, so we knew that we were underneath the street somewhere. But it was exceptionally cool for the summer, and so what we did is we got some candles, and we melted the bottoms of them, and we would stick the candles on a second tier of ledges that were higher up. We'd light the candles, and we'd hang out there, and that's where we did, the mischievous stuff that boys do when they're curious. It's where we drank our first beers. It's where we smoked our first cigarettes.
Right.
It's just our secret place that we. Yeah.
It sounds like a Stephen King novel.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Except we never, it was never anything that seemed scary to us. It was just cool, which is strange for the imagination of boys that we were. But the weird part occurred, and I guess it was midway through the summer, when two of my friends came, banging on my door in the morning, and I answered, and they told me they saw something in the tunnel. When they explained it to me, they said that they were both walking through the tunnel to get to our spot underneath the manhole to hang out. And as they were walking, they said that they saw this white mist, and it looked like it had a shape with hands. And they didn't really register. It didn't register with them what they were seeing, but they said as they stepped forward, the mist disappeared and then reappeared a little farther back in the tunnel, and it looked like the hands were motioning for them to follow. But instead of following, they turned around and ran as fast as they could, hunched over until they got out of the tunnel and ran all the way home. They said it scared the crap out of them. And,
right.
So they were telling me, and of course I didn't believe them because I just didn't believe in that stuff. But they refused to go back into the tunnel. I was like, well, let's go check it out. They didn't want to check it out. They want to go back. So it was just the two of them. So it was me and my other friend who wasn't with them. The two of us decided to go in and investigate. So we planned it all out. One of my friends, one of the two that got scared off, his dad was a professional photographer, so he stole his dad's really good camera.
Oh, no.
And really expensive film. Yes. And he gave it to me and instructed me. Came up with the idea that every 5 steps I would take a picture. Yeah, and we would just keep going until either we ran out of film, or we saw something. So my one buddy and I, who didn't get scared off by this thing, started going through the tunnel, and we passed that area where we used to have tunnel that connected. I mean, it was like one tunnel connected to another in a series of just like under manholes. So we just kept going, and we kept going until we couldn't hear our friends calling to us from outside the tunnel, just taking pictures, and I didn't see anything. And we finally headed back. We had to have been in there for, I'm telling you, a good hour and a half to 2 hours. We were in there for a while. And we had our flashlights because it was completely pitch black. But we walked out, and I told my friend, didn't see anything. And he swore to me, or they swore to us, there was something in there. They swore it, and I said, this part's true. I said, if there was anything in there, maybe something will come up when we develop the film. And as soon as I said that, I go to hand him back his camera, and the back of the camera just opens up on its own, and the film pops out. And this is before the days of digital cameras and cell phones. This is the kind of film that, if it's exposed to sunlight, it's
right.
I don't know how that happened, but it happened as soon as we came out and as soon as I handed him the camera. And that's the only weird thing about it. To this day, my buddy, to this day, he still accuses me of purposefully doing that. He thinks that I saw something and I didn't want to scare him, or I was too scared to admit that it was true, or too proud to admit that he was right. So to this day, he thinks that I purposely, popped the camera open and made the film fall out. And I swear, it's an ongoing controversy. And I tell him I didn't. It happened on its own, and that's pretty much the story.
Now that is very weird.
We'll never know if there was really something in there or what caused the... I'm the type of person that usually tries to find the logical explanation behind things, but I could never figure that one out.
That is very weird, Richard. Did something in there not want its picture taken? Perhaps. Did the same something mess with all of my tech as I tried to get this episode together? Maybe. Like I said, I don't believe in coincidences, but you'll have to come to your own conclusions. Since this interview, the second book in Richard's series has been released. The Keepers of White, Book 1, Agents of Shadow, and Book 2, The Paladins Message, are available on Amazon. I'm currently reading number 2, and I am so hooked on this series. As you can hear, Richard is a fabulous storyteller, and I just can't recommend this series enough. Until next time, have a safe and happy Halloween, and just be careful who or what you take a photo of.